The recent episode of AEW Dynamite on May 28, 2025, has sparked significant conversation among wrestling fans, particularly due to the main event segment featuring a highly anticipated face-to-face confrontation between AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm and her All-in-Texas challenger, Mercedes Moné. This encounter, the first of its kind between the two, followed Moné's victory in the 2025 Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament at Double or Nothing, securing her a title shot against Storm on July 12, 2025. The segment was a masterclass in verbal sparring, emotional intensity, and layered storytelling, setting the stage for what could be the biggest match in AEW's women's division to date. However, the segment also reignited discussions about tribalism in professional wrestling, with fans taking sides based on their allegiance to promotions like AEW or WWE, particularly in response to Moné's bold declaration of no longer being the boss but now the CEO. This article will break down the segment, the controversies surrounding Moné's comments, the implications for All in Texas, and the broader issue of tribalism in wrestling fandom, while advocating for a more unified appreciation of the art form. The main event segment on Dynamite was a pivotal moment for AEW's women's division. Mercedes Moné, fresh off her tournament win, entered the ring with confidence, proclaiming herself the greatest Rev Pro and TBS champion ever, and now the Owen Hart Foundation tournament winner. Her boldest claim was that even legends like Eddie Guerrero couldn't compare to her, a statement that immediately raised eyebrows and set the tone for the confrontation. Moné's words were not just a declaration of her accomplishments but a deliberate attempt to position herself as the pinnacle of women's wrestling, a figure who transcends the industry's past and present. Timeless Toni Storm, the reigning AEW Women's World Champion, responded by making her way to the ring, laying her title belt between them as a symbolic challenge. Storm's presence was commanding, her black and white aesthetic contrasting sharply with Moné's vibrant, colorful persona. Moné seized the moment to address the AEW audience, stating that fans were tired of a black and white champion and craved a champion made of color. This comment, while a clever nod to Storm's retro Hollywood-inspired character, also carried deeper implications, touching on themes of diversity and representation in wrestling. Moné's slip-up, briefly mentioning WWE before correcting herself to AEW, added a layer of authenticity to the moment, as it highlighted her history across multiple promotions and the ongoing tension between fanbases. Storm, ever the charismatic performer, countered with a pointed question: why had Moné, despite debuting in AEW at a Boston show heavily centered around her and maintaining an undefeated streak, never directly addressed or even looked at Storm until this moment? Storm's query cut to the heart of Moné's journey in AEW, suggesting a calculated approach to her rise in the company. Moné responded with a single word: patience. She explained that her actions were driven by a desire to build her legacy, not just in AEW but across the global wrestling landscape. Labeling herself the Beyoncé of women's wrestling, Moné declared that she was the standard, the conversation, the blueprint, and the revolution, a bold assertion of her influence and ambition. Storm, unfazed, responded with a mix of reverence and defiance, swearing to an unknown god that Moné had never met anyone like her. This line encapsulated Storm's unique persona, blending theatrical flair with unshakable confidence. Moné escalated the exchange, emphasizing her evolution from the boss to the CEO, a moniker that signifies her growth as a performer and a businesswoman. She boasted of defeating women across the world and promised to bring that global dominance to All in Texas. Storm, in turn, acknowledged their shared roots in independent wrestling but highlighted a key difference. While Moné chases every championship, Storm's focus remains solely on the AEW Women's World title, which she views as the ultimate prize. The segment culminated in a tense standoff, with both women teasing their finishing moves before agreeing to meet at All in Texas with a handshake. Storm added a quirky twist by sniffing Moné's hand and kissing it, a nod to her eccentric character, before Moné exited, leaving Storm to pose with the fans. This final image, Storm standing tall with the AEW Women's World title, reinforced her status as the division's cornerstone, while Moné's departure hinted at her determination to dethrone the champion. The confrontation was a storytelling triumph, blending personal stakes, professional ambition, and cultural commentary. However, it also sparked controversy, particularly Moné's declaration that she was no longer the boss but the CEO. This statement, a clear reference to her WWE persona, ignited a firestorm on social media, with some fans interpreting it as a rejection of her past and others seeing it as a natural evolution. The backlash highlighted the persistent tribalism in wrestling fandom, where fans align themselves with specific promotions: AEW, WWE, New Japan, Stardom, and others, and often engage in heated debates that undermine the wrestlers themselves. Tribalism in wrestling is not a new phenomenon, but it has become increasingly visible in the age of social media. Fans who identify as AEW fans or WWE fans often feel compelled to defend their chosen promotion while disparaging others, creating a divisive atmosphere that detracts from the shared love of professional wrestling. Moné's comment about no longer being the boss was seized upon by some WWE fans as a betrayal, while AEW fans celebrated her embrace of a new identity. This reaction underscores a broader issue: the tendency to prioritize brand loyalty over support for individual performers. Mercedes Moné is a perfect case study in this dynamic. As a wrestler who has competed in WWE, AEW, New Japan, Stardom, and other promotions, her career transcends any single company. Fans who consider themselves true supporters of Moné should celebrate her achievements regardless of where she performs. Whether she's wrestling as Sasha Banks in WWE, Mercedes Moné in AEW, or any other persona elsewhere, her talent, charisma, and contributions to the industry remain constant. Yet, the tribalistic mindset leads some fans to criticize her for moving between promotions, as if her success in one company diminishes her work in another. This tribalism is not only unproductive but also disconnected from the realities of the wrestling industry. Fans do not receive paychecks or royalties for their loyalty to AEW, WWE, or any other promotion. Their passion, while admirable, does not entitle them to dictate a wrestler's career path or creative choices. Moné's decision to rebrand as the CEO reflects her growth as a performer and her desire to carve out a unique identity in AEW. Rather than criticizing this move, fans should recognize it as a testament to her versatility and ambition. The controversy surrounding Moné's comments also distracts from the significance of her matchup with Toni Storm at All in Texas. This match has the potential to be a defining moment for AEW's women's division, which has often been overshadowed by the company's male-heavy storylines. Moné's victory in the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament, defeating Jamie Hayter in the finals, was a strategic booking decision that positioned her as the top challenger. While some fans argue that Hayter deserved the win, Moné's star power and global recognition make her the ideal opponent for Storm in what could be AEW's biggest women's match to date. All in Texas, set for July 12, 2025, represents a monumental challenge for AEW. The company is attempting to run its first true North American stadium show, a feat that requires a stacked card and major draws. Mercedes Moné, with her international fame and proven track record, is essential to the event's success. Her presence in a featured role, particularly in a title match against Toni Storm, will draw casual fans and hardcore wrestling enthusiasts alike. The matchup is a dream scenario: two performers with deep roots in independent wrestling, contrasting styles, and undeniable charisma facing off for the AEW Women's World title. The booking decision for All in Texas is a complex one. On one hand, Mercedes Moné has never held the AEW Women's World title, and crowning her at All In would solidify her status as a cornerstone of the company. Her victory could also attract new viewers, given her established fanbase from WWE and other promotions. On the other hand, Toni Storm, as the beloved babyface champion, could deliver a feel-good moment by retaining the title. Storm's reign has been a highlight of AEW's women's division, and her character work, blending humor, drama, and in-ring excellence, has made her a fan favorite. Ultimately, the controversy surrounding Moné's CEO declaration and the tribalism it exposed should not overshadow the excitement for this matchup. Wrestling fans, regardless of their preferred promotion, should rally behind performers like Moné and Storm, who are pushing the boundaries of what women's wrestling can achieve. By focusing on the art, athleticism, and storytelling of professional wrestling, fans can move beyond tribalism and embrace a more inclusive appreciation of the industry. All in Texas, with Moné and Storm at the forefront, has the potential to be a landmark event not just for AEW, but for wrestling as a whole.